I can read my notes here. My name is Dan O'Hara. I want to welcome everybody tonight to the Missouri Aviation Historical Society November meeting. If this is your first time attending, we thank you for joining us and welcome you aboard. If you would like to know more about our society or would like to become a member, please write your contact information on the sign-in sheet up here by before the coffee pot. And then I think everybody's probably found the restrooms already, but just in case, you go the door that you came in and go down toward the lobby there on the left. Obviously, everybody has some snacks and soda and coffee. Before we start tonight's presentation, I want to make a few announcements, and then we have some other people that want to make a few also. I hope all of you were able to watch our resident Guadalcanal veteran, Tom Mohan, live on HEC TV last week, along with fellow veteran Carter Hope. The live event was broadcast to classrooms all across the country 2 times that Wednesday, and people could text or email questions to both men. This was HEC TV's History in the First Person program. For those of you who have not met Tom, he was a gunner with the Marine Corps Scout Bombing Squadron 232, the Red Devils, and arrived on Guadalcanal in August of 1942. Now flying FA-18 Hornets, the Red Devils of VMFA 232 are currently deployed to Japan and are the oldest squadron in the Marine Corps. I forwarded the flyer about this event to in the old days, the ombudsman, but the family resource officer at Miramar, and she in turn forwarded to the squadron who are deployed to Japan. Since Tom was our guest speaker in August 2012 for the 70th anniversary of the Battle of Guadalcanal, I sent the CO, Lieutenant Colonel Sullivan, a link to our website so that they could watch the video of Tom's presentation along with some still photos of Tom in the studio. I also sent Colonel Sullivan a copy of The Tip of the Spear, which was written by another gunner in VMSP 232, Dennis Bird, and is a very detailed account of the daily squadron activity while they were on Guadalcanal. The CO sent a very nice reply stating that it would be a good read for his Marines. There is another very special presentation coming up on HEC TV, and I don't think, Jackie, are you here tonight? I don't think she's here. She had, unfortunately, there's 2 people who had to go to funerals, and she's one of them, so sorry to hear that. We'll get her next month. But Jackie Poor is one of our members, and she's a producer at HEC TV. But they're currently working on a tribute to the men who built the Mercury spacecraft here at McDonnell Aircraft in St. Louis. That will air December 11th. If you go to their website, HEC TV, see all the details about that. And we'll also post them on our website. I'd also like to introduce a special guest tonight, Dick Bonin and his wife Earlene. And they're sitting right over here, so welcome. Dick flew on Lockheed Neptunes with Squadron VO-67. They flew missions along the Ho Chi Minh Trail in Southeast Asia during the Vietnam War. I had met Dick's fellow squadron mate, John Driver, at the Walmart in Wentzville about a month ago on my way home. And unfortunately, John and his wife are driving to Cincinnati as we speak, as her sister passed away about 2 days ago. So if you could please keep them in your prayers, that would be great. And we'll get John up here hopefully for the next meeting. But I want to thank John and Dick and your respective families for your service to our country. Thank you. Okay. I've sent an email about a week ago about our first annual Christmas party. So I want to remind you about that. It'll be Sunday, December 8th. Right here where we're sitting now in Freeport, and I will need a total head count, and I prefer a check made out to Missouri Aviation Historical Society by December 1st. And June, where are you at? Back there? It's $13, is that correct? Per person?
Per person.
Okay, which is very reasonable.
That includes everything. Food, drinks, desserts. Can
you kind of go over the menu just a touch for people? Because I didn't have that information the other day. This is June Flegel, so it's her friend that has the catering company, so graciously is going to do this. So go ahead, June.
There's going to be 2 meats. She usually does a brisket and maybe some kind of chicken, for a special occasion. And there will be a salad and some kind of a potato thing, it's like a casserole thing.
Right.
And there's going to be 2 desserts, and she probably will have green beans and almonds, you know. So it's really gonna be good. I mean, I've been eating her food like over a year now, and it's very good. We just had turkey last night, and it was very good. Joe will tell you it was very good.
Okay, well, very good.
And
That's gonna
tea and coffee and water is also included, but if you wanna have some hard liquor, well then, I guess you have to bring your own.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's like $13. We'll meet here at 3 o'clock, and then dinner, she'll serve dinner at 5. 5 o'clock. Okay, so hope you guys can make it out for that. And December 15th. No, our party is December 8th. Sunday, December 8th. Let's see, make sure my minutes there. So let me go ahead, and I think, speaking of Christmas parties, Jim Dorr here wants to make an announcement about another party that's coming up with his group. Go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, there is another Christmas banquet coming up. It has nothing to do with this organization. It's another one that's entirely different. For those who are also interested in railroading, rail fans, you know, St. Louis Chapter, National Railway Historical Society. By the way, this year, we're in our 50th year. We started it up back in October of 1963, and we've been going strong ever since. And I'm one of 3 original founding members in 1963. We started out at Union Station. And anyway, I put on a banquet every year, and it's at, for quite a few years now, it's at the Genesis Banquet Center on Telegraph Road in South County. $14. Your salad, your 2 different entrees, 3 side dishes. You've got your rolls of butter, your beverage, your dessert. We're going to have a cash bar, and you want that. The first hour is social hours. It's 5:30 to 6:30, and then 6:30 to 7:30. That's the buffet, and then 7:30 on. That's when we're going to show a program. 16mm sound movies. 1933, I believe this movie was made, Whispering Speaks. All about railroading when it was back in the good old days, 1930, steam locomotives running down the tracks and getting into one place at the last minute, and so on and so forth. Anyway, everybody looks forward to that in our chapter. And everybody that goes there...
Oh, you got, hang on, I'm sorry, there's a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
What's the date?
The date is going to be December 1st. That is the first Sunday in December.
Okay.
And it starts at 5:30. And everybody coming in there will get a brand new 2014 Union Pacific calendar, like the one I'm holding here in my hand. Different scene for each month. Also a $5 certificate for Pasta House Company. So right away, you're getting, $17 worth of merchandise, and you're paying $14 just for the dinner, so you're coming out ahead on that. So if anybody, I know Mark is,
Mark's over
yeah,
there.
yeah, here he is, yeah. He and his son are gonna go, and some other ones too. So if you're interested, see me and I'll take your check. It'll be payable to St. Louis Chapter NRHS for $14 each for the number of people. So any questions or anything, just see me and I'll answer them for you. But that's December 1st, Genesis Banquet Center. They have excellent food. Everybody in our chapter looks forward. We wouldn't have it anywhere else. It's so good. So
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
And Mark, I believe you had a
Yeah, a couple things.
announcement. Mark Nankivell, he's the president of the Greater St. Louis Aerospace Museum.
We will be having an open house, wine and cheese, and on December 7th at the museum from 4 to 6, and you're all welcome to come. Just give you a chance to come by, take a look at what we're doing, and just look around and have a little bit of wine and cheese while you're there. I have to laugh. Bob Dorr probably thinks I move books left and right, but he goes and sends me another box of books. It's his book, Mission to Tokyo, which I know Dan's mentioned before, but I have 6 copies, $20 each. I don't want to take any home, so if anybody needs something to read between now and Christmas, or is thinking Christmas gifts, I have 6 here that I'm...
Wasn't there a sister book to that, Mission to...
Yeah, he did Berlin, mission to
Yeah.
Berlin, which was the one I moved a couple months ago, so.
Right.
I told Bob, don't send any more, I'll end up having to do some stocking stuff.
He writes.
See me afterwards,
All right.
and that's about it, thanks.
All right, no sweat. Will anybody else have anything on party? Go ahead, Joe.
Hey, just wanted to let everybody know, if they didn't know, that the Blue Angels were in town, and the air show for May 3rd and 4th next year is on at Spirit of St. Louis. Got a poster of it for them.
Yeah.
I guess Dan knows a little more about it.
7 in town, they did their winter visit, everything went great.
Where is it gonna be?
Spirit of St. Louis.
Yes, it's also, well, May 3rd, 4th, just kind of go over that real quick. Our last air show out of Spirit was 2007. That used to be the old St. Louis County Fair and Air Show. That's gone, obviously. But we have brought back the air show. Blue Angels actually picked the date, so that's where May 3rd and 4th is coming from in 2014. It's also the 50th anniversary of Spirit of St. Louis Airport. So we're trying to get in some vintage corporate aircraft, Lodestars and things like that for static display. If you go to spirit-airshow.com, it's the website, and we'll get more details out about that as the time gets closer. And also, if you're into air shows, I just confirmed with Cape today, City of Cape Girardeau's air show will be May 17th and 18th. So right after our show, they'll have the Canadian Snowbirds. That's coming up. That'll come up pretty quick. No more announcements. I want to go ahead and get started with our program. So, 50 years ago, marked almost to the day, tomorrow, as the anniversary, marked the tragic death of President John F. Kennedy. As we all remember where we were on that fateful day, we also remember the good times in our lives. In the aviation world, two of the greatest planes ever built were flying and would enter service soon. Both jets have significant connections to the Show Me State. Bill Lear's namesake Learjet was making its maiden flight over in Wichita in October of '63. Bill, who was born in Hannibal, was a great innovator and inventor who had many great achievements in aviation. Now in Los Angeles, North American Aviation, builders of the famous T6, Mustang, and F-86, had received certification on their latest thoroughbred, the Sabreliner. Missouri had a big part in the evolution of this classic jet, as the distribution rights were granted to Rimmer Werner at St. Louis, and the wings and tubes were shipped to Perryville for completion. We are honored to be able to celebrate the 50th anniversary of this marquee jet that is still in military and civilian use worldwide. Before I introduce our guest speaker for the evening, I would like everyone to welcome Stephen Sperry and Harry Schilling, and there's a whole Sabreliner contingent back here at this table. Thanks so much for coming up tonight, guys. Steve has a few comments, so go ahead, Steve. You have the floor.
Good evening. Thank you for inviting us out here. We really do appreciate the honor. As Dan said, I am Vice President of Business Development with Sabreliner. I am not a lifelong Sabreliner guy, though. I've got about 4 years in. Jerry Wade back here informed me today, he's our HR VP, that we've got a gal that's been working there basically since she was 17 and still there today. So we have some employees that have been with the company longer than I have been alive, and that's hard to understand. On behalf of all the former and current Sabreliner employees, we really do appreciate what's going on here today. Acknowledgement of the Saberjet is one of the first business jets that was marketed and still flying today. There are more Sabreliner jets flying around in different areas than people tend to realize. I mean, we've built model after model. There's 761 of them built. Hundreds of them are still flying today, both here in the United States and around the world. The forward-looking spirit that the people at Sabreliner had is what Missouri is all about. It's what aviation is all about, and it's something that we continue to strive for today. We have an airplane that's got legendary performance, and it's got very, very sweet lines, sexy lines, as a lot of people call it today. And it is still a plane that people go out and balk at when it comes in for a landing in an airport. 50 years ago, the aircraft was launched. Many of the aircraft that came off those production lines, like I said earlier, are still in production. We at Sabreliner, we're proud of the legendary heritage and the modern capability, and the men and the women who work day in and day out that made that possible. Once again, thank you for letting us be part of that. And we'll turn it over to Doug Allen, and Doug will give a presentation.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you.
The Sabreliner was really a Missouri product. They knew how to make the parts out in LA. They didn't know how to put it together. And it was Perryville and St. Louis that put that airplane together. This airplane started as a in-house conceptual design from North American Aviation in 1958. And in 1958, the engineers and the designers got together and through a program, UTX program that the Air Force submitted to two companies, Lockheed and North American. Lockheed matched up their Lockheed Jetstar with just 2 engines at that time. And the Sabreliner. The Sabreliner was actually purchased by the Air Force in 1959, won the contract against the Lockheed Jetstar, and shortly after that, within 2 to 3 years, the Navy and the Marines got on board. So it's got the distinctive honor of serving 3 branches of service in the military. I don't think any plane manufacturer, I suppose maybe McDonnell Douglas has that for the Air Force, the Marines, the Navy, but the North American Aviation did it with the Sabre. Again, it was part of the UTX program, the Utility Transport Experimental Program. This aircraft was made in Los Angeles. You'll see some pictures. And there it is. That's the variant right there. That's the 2-cabin window. The first 6 models of this airplane did not even have an autopilot. Can you imagine that? This airplane was capable of 500 miles an hour at 40,000 feet. Could operate on runways less than 5,000 feet in length. Typical weights on the airplane are up and around the 18 to 19,000, about 18,300 pounds max gross takeoff weight of the airplane. And it has a crew of 2, and you would have about 4 technicians in the back. They used radars from the F-3H Demon and from the A-7 Corsair for weapons officers to train in the back of the aircraft. And that's what this airplane was for. It was personnel transport and combat readiness trainers. That's what the airplane was designed for. You can see the slats are fully retracted in flight, but that previous picture you saw that the slats are fully extended. And this is a remarkable feature on the airplane. Here you see the speed brake extended. That can be extended at any speed on the aircraft, from cruise to approach to landing. It has a 3,000 psi hydraulic system, but the slats are free floating. And on takeoff, they're fully extended. When you reach about 130 to 140 knots, they start to retract. And once you exceed 140 knots, they're up to stay and you're on your way. The airplane was a remarkable airplane for the Air Force at its time. It was capable of 500 miles an hour at 40,000 feet. And that's a remarkable feat for its time. The early engines were GE engines. JT-18DX engines, and they were very, very early engines for the airplane, and the airplane performed very well with those engines. And so you can see...
This next segment, that will be the interior shots for the
Very
radar
good.
trainer.
You see, this is a plug-type door. The door is what we call a plug-type door. It'll retract up into the airplane and then come back out to lock in place. It's called a plug-type door. And it wasn't very accommodating for a lot of wives of CEOs. I'll say that. This is your typical cockpit of the, and you can see the swing-out control here. This is a swing-out control for the first officer, and he would slew the radar for the fellas in the back, and you'll see some shots of that coming up here. And that's it slewed down where he can operate it and train the guys in the back. You have a full annunciator panel here that all your anomalies, if you have one, pressurization failure, hydraulic failure, whatever, that's your annunciator panel there. You've got a very early generation radar here, monochrome radar. But a typical military airplane in that you see a lot of overhead windows, eyebrow windows, and look above and around and all around you. So that was very typical. This is one of your typical stations for your naval weapons officer to train on. And then from here they went into attack aircraft in the back seat of whatever. And this is what they trained on. So this really truly shows the full utility of the airplane in its early stages for the Air Force and what it was capable of doing. We used two different radar systems, one from the Corsair and one from the F-3H Demon, made right here in St. Louis. So, and that was a typical profile you'd see of somebody operating, you see the early helmet mask and what have you. Then they're working at their station. And of course, the Air Force had their share of mishaps. And you'll see one of the upcoming pictures here. They, who knows what happened? Brake failure or landed too long? We'll never know. You can see the escape hatch over the wing is deployed. The guys in the back, that's probably how they got out. And that over the wing escape hatch was in every Sabreliner ever made, both 40 and 60. We'll talk a little bit about the 60 in a little while. And this is the early engines. You don't see any splitter vanes on the intakes of the engines. These are the early GE engines. And this is a very early Sabreliner. And this is probably happened out in some desert airport down in the Southwest where the Air Force likes to set up Air Force stations where nobody's around, So, but there it is, and it's in all its glory. Marvelous airplane. It has an adjustable horizontal stabilizer that you can trim up and down here, and so for pitch trim. Slats are fully, looks like they're fully retracted, of course. It's a cruise, and the namesake Sabreliner actually came from the F-86 Sabre. The wing platform is similar, not the same, but similar to the Sabreliner, and the tail section is similar to the F-86. So when North American made this airplane, they decided to call it the Sabreliner, and they started a Sabreliner division, which was St. Louis and Perryville. And again, like I say, they could make the parts out there, but they didn't know how to put them together. So it took the guys in Perryville to put them together. And they did a marvelous job. The Navy got on board with the airplane as well, and so did the Marine Corps. And they used the airplane for the same thing. It was a dual-purpose airplane for personnel transport and combat readiness training. Now here's a three-window airplane. We started putting windows in the escape hatches, and so this was a later variant. The Navy got on board when we started doing some mods to the airplanes, and you might say, well, why are the slats not down? They had straps that they would attach and pull the slats up a lot of times when they're on the ground. They didn't want them down where people could bang into them or move them. It takes a lot of rigging to get those slats just right. This was used in an ad for Sabreliner, and that guy there holding that hose back there was me. That's my early days in 1972. I was line serviceman for Sabreliner, and we were North American Rockwell. Now you see the Rockwell logo up there. We were actually North American Rockwell in St. Louis when we started, and they dropped the North American Rockwell at some point later on. We just became Rockwell International, and putting fuel on the wings of the airplane. The airplane holds about 1,087 to 1,092 gallons in the wings. Harry, can you help me? That bag in the back, what do we hold in the aft fuel cell? How much fuel? About 100 gallons?
Right around 100.
About 100 gallons. It was very rarely used, but there was an aft fuel cell back here at station 333, and I guess I probably fueled it 5 or 7 times in my whole time as a line serviceman. That's right here in St. Louis. Now here's a 60 model. It was a 3 feet 2 inch plug in a 40 model aircraft. Put 2 more cabin windows in it, and there it is. They stretched it out, and you could put obviously from 8 people to 12 people in the aircraft. Same wing. Now the engine here is a Pratt & Whitney JT-12-6 engine on the early Sabreliners with about 3,000 pounds of thrust. As the airplane was improved, we went from the Dash 6 engine to the Dash 8 engine, and they produced 3,300 pounds of thrust. Didn't really do a whole lot as far as max gross for the airplane. I flew serial number 99 in the civilian version, the civilian variant. It was just like these airplanes here. The airplane I flew was just like this one. I flew for Barry Waymiller Corporation in St. Louis. I I flew number 99. Harry and I were talking back here that serial numbers 1 through 98 had a lot of optional kits, the service bulletins, things if you wanted to buy you could, but at 98 and on, we just included it in normal production. So I was fortunate to fly number 99. The airplane, our max gross takeoff weight was 18,992 pounds. We didn't carry any jets in our airplane for under 5,000 feet. That was our company policy. Routinely on the GPS, I would see 525 to 540 knots in the air, and it was just a marvelous airplane to fly. Very forgiving, easy airplane to fly. This is a special airplane. This is serial number 1. Serial number 1, the FAA type certification came to Sabreliner in 1963. This is the 50th anniversary of type certification. In April of 63, the civilian variant of the Sabreliner got its FAA type certification. I will say this though, I don't know how they did it, but every military Sabreliner is also FAA type certified too, so it can be put into commercial use. When you're type rated in a Sabreliner as a pilot, you're typed in all variants. It'll just say NA-265 on your license, and you're rated in all the Saberliners, the 40s, the 60s, the 75s, the 65s. You're rated in all of them. This is an early 40 model, which is 2 cabin windows. Now this has the Dash 8 engines. These are modern times now for the airplane back in the late 70s, early 80s. As the hydraulic pressure starts to bleed down after the aircraft's parked, you'll see the speed brake start to bleed down. And the speed brake is a real handy item because when you're new to the Sabreliner like I was, and your speeds vary 10 to 15 knots, it cured a lot of sins. You pop that speed brake on a little switch on the left throttle, and down it would come, and your 144 knot speed would go right to 121. And that's a beautiful paint scheme for 282-1. The 40 models were, and you can see the splitter vanes now on the newer modern engines. And those were heated, by the way, too. The Sabreliner fuel is heated, by the way. It's one of the few jets out there at its time that heated the fuel before it went into the engines. This is 282-1. The 40 models are serial number 282-whatever, 1 through 130 or whatever. When you get into the 60 models, they are 306-whatever number. So you'll see some of those. And this is 282. I used to hate these paint schemes when I first came on the Sabreliner. I've come to really adore them. This is a beautiful paint scheme in my opinion. This goes back to the late 60s, probably the mid-60s, probably a 1963 or 64 airplane here. And they had a lot of vanity numbers. 30 Whiskey, could have been Westinghouse, who knows. We sold to all the major corporations in the country and parts of the world. That's a beautiful aircraft. This was a test model for obviously a radar, a radome, and this was taken right in St. Louis, I believe. But this was an airplane out of Cedar Rapids for Collins, for a Collins division. Rockwell owned Collins, and we had Collins radios in all of our aircraft. And so this was, this further shows the great utility of the airplane, that it could adapt to all these different radar modifications for test. That's right here in St. Louis. That's an F-16 nose. Again, the Sabreliner was chosen to test the F-16 nose and radar prior to final construction for the F-16. So we're real proud of all the lineage the Sabreliner displayed in its ability to be a test bed for different radar designs. Yeah, that's another shot of it there. I don't know whose aircraft. This is N number, so it could have been Honeywell. I don't really know, but it could have been. I don't put any radar on that.
It's not the same airplane that the earlier shot had a serial number.
It's the same one, I'm saying, just a different angle.
Oh, okay. Okay.
There.
I see.
I
Yeah.
think it was, yeah.
Yeah.
So the title up top
typical site in the hangar. We slung a lot of engines on stands here. We removed them. I can tell you right now that these engines were on their way to Perryville. They were on their way to Perryville because we just dropped them and we hung them. We didn't do any engine work. The beautiful souls down at Perryville knew how to take these engines apart and do all the work with them. Perryville was a magnificent part of this airplane. When you tell people that Perryville, they say, "Why Perryville? There's farms down there. They grow corn there." Well, yes, they do, but they also put Sabreliners together. They did all of the engine work for us there.
How do you get engine transport to Perryville?
Truck.
Fly 'em or truck 'em?
They were trucked. And of course, we were trying all kinds of different things back in the time I was there. This was the winglet Mavu truck. You can see the tufts on the wing to see how it would perform in different regimes of speed and high and low speed. It didn't prove out to be any benefit to the Sabreliner, so they were not used.
See,
Well, here we go. Oh gosh, I was a sheet metal mechanic. That's all the sheet metal I put underneath the nose of this aircraft. It had an accident, and that's John, my buddy John. This is some of our handiwork. We have put on new nose gear doors. This is all the skin that we put on. Fun days, but that's a long time ago. This is me in the right seat of this airplane. I was real proud of that. This is one of my first early flights in the Sabreliner. We did a photo shoot. We flew the airplane right out of Perryville. And I have to tell you a funny quick story. There was a real character by the name of Jim Bruce. Jim Bruce was a superb guy. He's gone now. On my first flight out of Perryville in this airplane, he was standing down at the end of the runway with a skewer with hot dogs in it. That's Jim's humor. So, this airplane, we had GE. Do you remember all the paint jobs you did, Harry, down at GE?
And a red one, a green one, and a blue one.
Yes, this is an absolute true story. We would have executives from GE getting on the plane, and they could cruise altitude, and they said, "Boy, it's going to be nice getting down to Florida today. The weather's going to be nice there." I said, "We're going to Ohio." They got on the wrong airplane. This happened time and time again. This is a fact. When they got to the airport, if they were on the blue airplane, they put blue tags on their luggage and all their suitcases and their computer bags. They put a blue tag on them. They got them on the blue airplane. GE did that. It's a fact. They were something to look at, weren't they, Harry?
Yeah.
They were something to look at. All blue, all red, all blue. This was a typical site. Here's Paul Hediger, my buddy Paul. This was a typical site in St. Louis on demating wings off of fuselages. We did this a ton. We had a real problem, and my friends in Perryville can back me up on this. Center beam corrosion. You don't get a guy in a business suit as a corporate pilot climbing underneath a jet to drain the sumps. When does it happen? 10, 12, 15 days later, when they get back to their base of operations, their chief of maintenance may drain the sumps. Well, it didn't happen very often. And we had a real nightmare with center beam corrosion. Here's the wings right over here. We haven't split it yet. And we had a real, they may have been ready to go. We may be craning this up to mate. But yeah, that's a typical scene. That is a Sabre 65, by the way. That's the big Garrett TFE 731 engine. This is Sabre 65. This was our last variant produced, made in the late 70s. We made 76 of these 65s. They had a supercritical wing, had a high bypass fan engine from Garrett. Wonderful airplane to fly. I never got to fly a 65. I flew the 40 and the 60. That's the only airplane I flew. But here we are dropping it. I guess we're dropping it down onto the wings. I don't know. Some of these pictures go way back. This is a lot of my collection. I never went to work without my camera bag. So I could take my time to do this because my handiwork was done. All the sheet metal work was done. I could just watch these guys do their handiwork. But yeah, we would get a crane company to come in and do what we do, and we put them into J fixtures. We did a lot of very serious maintenance work with these airplanes. This is a 65 test bed here. You can the nose there. This was out in California. This was as Harry got to share with me, this was actually a 60 model aircraft that became the first 65. And I did not know that. So this was actually a 60 model that had the Pratt & Whitney JT12-8 engines. They never got them because it got the big engines on big Garrett engines. So this is a test variant of it. You can see the canoes back here for the screw jacks for the Fowler flaps. It had a big wing on it. Jim Raceback designed the wing, and it was a marvelous wing for the airplane. We are back in St. Louis again, putting one of the fuselages down onto the cradle here. As you can see, engines are off. They're probably on a truck on their way to Perryville. Well, this goes way, way back. I left Sabreliner, and I went off to college for a while on a failed effort, and I came back. I worked a little bit at Mid-Coast Aviation. Let's see, y'all remember Don Vanderbeck? Everybody remember Don Vanderbeck? And John Tucker, you all remember him. And, oh gosh, there's Dave Eaton, and there's Ashley Red, and that guy right there. That's me. I was 22 years old, and I just was, I was waiting to get back over to Sabreliner, and I did. I got back over to Sabreliner. I left there in 72, came back in 76, and I stayed there until 1991. This is Timken Bearings airplane, a beautiful 65. You can tell it's a 65 with the wing fence. No slats hanging down. The big fan engine. Also in the 65, we put much, much larger brakes on the airplane. No speed brake on the 65. There's a fuel cell up there. I love these pictures because they show the Rockwell logo on there. Here we are, Rockwell Sabreliner. And this is an early 60 model. This is a 60 model. And this was one of Rockwell's numbers. You can always tell those because we had a Romeo number on the airplane. This was just one of their paint schemes. I was always taking pictures. These are precious to me. This is part of my collection of the airplanes produced in Los Angeles, I think. This is Harry, that's not Perryville, is it?
No, it's building 202.
In Los Angeles, in California.
El Segundo.
In El Segundo. Yep, I remember my checks coming from El Segundo for a long time. That's quite a company. You can see now the new 60 series with more cabin windows and splitter bays. So here's a trivia question. Where did the triangular cabin window come from? Well, I mean the design. There's never been an airplane before that had a triangular shaped window. Is anybody familiar with the North American logo? It's a triangle with an eagle flying through it. Heston Cherry was one of the senior engineers on the development of the Sabreliner, and his wife was at a party. They had a big North American logo up there. She said, "That's how you ought to shape your windows, like the triangle." And on every rudder pedal on a Sabreliner is that logo. That's why the windows are triangular.
But then you change the windows. You make it look out.
We did on our 75A, which was a marketing number. The top picture over there is actually an 80 model. The 75A actually is an 80. The reason they called it a 75A is it came out in 1975. It was a marketing number. It actually was an 80 model. We had either a 370 or a 380. The 70 models were the larger cabin, square cabin fuselage windows. We had 6 variants with the old JT12-8 engines. Somewhat underpowered because it was a heavy, big airplane. It was a stand-up cabin. But we ultimately got GE to make the GE CF700 high bypass fan engine for us. So number 7 on up to 76 or whatever. I don't know how many we made, Harry.
The 75, there were 72 of those. And one of the unique thing about those windows, they actually counted as skin load. Most windows are just plugged. These were actually stressed as part of the metal of the fuselage.
Interesting. That's an interesting point. They're stress skin loaded just like the skin of the aircraft itself. This is Malincroft's airplane, and they were a long customer with us, long customer. Beautiful 60 model aircraft. This is a 60 model. This pumpkin orange. You can tell this is the 70s. You can just tell it's the 70s. That's all I can say. This is Rockwell Collins. Rockwell Collins. This is their 60 model. Slats extended. Beautiful airplane. I love the Rockwell logo there. Let's see. This airplane was damaged. We had a tornado come through St. Louis, and it shoved a couple of Sabreliners together, and I got a picture of that that day. It was kind of a mess. I don't know that I have a lot of them, but yeah, we had two Sabreliners bumped together. The wind just took them. That's the intake of Sabre 65, and I was getting kind of artistic one day with my camera, so that's the TFE 731 engine. Very typical picture of the 65 cockpit, even as they're flying today. One of the Achilles heels with the Sabreliner is that it's a 10,000-hour airplane. All of the 40s and all of the 60s. We did life extension kits on a handful of airplanes. It's very, very expensive. When I was doing it, it was $250,000 per airplane. And you had to put the airplane on a jig, and you had to just completely take the interior apart, right down to the ribs, the longerons, the stringers, and replace a lot of that with more beefy parts, whatever the engineers decided to do to make it a 30K airplane. And we would either make it a 15 or a 30K airplane, but we didn't do too many of them. But all of the 65s are 30K airplanes. This is an 80 model taken off out of Perryville, and yeah, no more triangular windows. This was a stand-up cabin, so they went to the square windows. Harry, are these also stressed in the fuselage, just like?
Yes, they are. They carry skin load.
Interesting. They carry a skin load just like the rest of the skin on the aircraft. What a rugged airplane. There's the 80 model there. You can see that the eyebrow windows are a little bit different. They're a little bit different on the 80 model. And yeah, it was a good-looking airplane. It was a stand-up cabin. Carried 2 to 3 more people.
It looks like it has the aft fan engine for the GE.
It does. The
Okay.
GE CF700 engine. With sugar scoop TRs. Filthy engine to work on. Right, Harry?
Yeah. Soot. It was a bypass.
It's a bypass, so you bypassed a lot of soot. It took 9 different lubricants to lubricate the TRs. The FAA loved our airplane as a test bed. Loved it. They loved the Sabreliner. They flew these airplanes, I know, for 15 years as an airways check airplane. Here we are again in St. Louis, just doing whatever to an early 40 model with, actually, maybe not early, but a 40 model with the 3 cabin windows, engines around. We're probably going to bring it over and set it into this fixture right here. It's not necessarily a jig fixture, it's just a fixture to hold it. We're not disassembling anything on the fuselage, so we didn't need a jig fixture. This was the Argentina, I think the Argentinians, yeah, this is Cuellar area, Argentina. And Argentinian Air Force bought this airplane from us. And it didn't live long. Yeah, it didn't live long.
Is that basically an 80 model?
That is an 80 model. That is an 80 model with the big high bypass fan engines. That is there. There's some beautiful paint scheme there of an 80 model. Another 80 model. Again, you can immediately recognize the 80 models with the square cabin windows and the larger engines. And this was Arab Wings airplanes. This was bought by a Sultan for his son. His son got tired of driving his Ferrari around and driving all this around. He wanted something he could really go fast in, so his father bought this for him. These are North American Rockwell numbers.
Arab Wings is short,
Okay.
so, you know,
Yeah, but still in all, it's some Sultan that bought it for his son.
something that short.
And these are early North American numbers, NR, North American Rockwell numbers. truck landing gear, 2 tires on each gear, just to deliver increased landing weights, and they decided to disperse it to 2 wheels per side.
Can you give us some kind of a feel for the, relative or gross weights of the 80 models versus earlier models?
They all seem to increase by about 2,000 pounds. So we went from the 40 at 18,992 to 20,000 and change for the 60 model to 22,000 pounds max gross weight on the 80 model and 23,658 for the 65 model. So they all increase by about 2,000 pounds. You can see the slats fully extended here. This was a pair of airplanes owned by the same company. I can't remember the name right now. It was a St. Louis-based company. But you can see the, it may be difficult to see in this picture, but there are dual truck landing gear on the 80 model. I'm glad you brought that up, Dan. That is another significant way. It really dates the picture there. There's GWA on the hangar over there, so it really dates the picture.
There we go.
This was hoped to be the crowning achievement for Sabreliner. When Sabreliner Corporation was spun off from Rockwell, an investment company bought Sabreliner, and they've done a very fine job with it. And this was their dream airplane. We had a plant in Texas lined up to produce this. We needed a venture capital partner. You were going to see a new supercritical wing for this sort of 80 model-ish type fuselage, a different nose, something like off of a Hawker, different windshield, winglets. They finally found they would work. Well, it never happened. We wish that it would. It was going to be another lineage to St. Louis, but
What year would that have been roughly?
I'm guessing probably in the late 80s. I think the late 80s, 88 or 87, sometime around there. And we hoped it would happen, but we just needed a little more financial backing, and if we did, we could have done it. I've got the entire proposal for that right here. This is the entire proposal for that airplane, right here from Sabreliner Corporation. And there's that same picture. And that was going to be produced probably in Texas, and then final assembly maybe in St. Louis. I don't know. It never got off the ground. So
What was the last production airplane? What year?
1981. The last airplane to come off the production line was a Sabre 65, and that was the last airplane to ever come off the line. 81.
Where did it go? Do you know?
It's still flying. It's a 65. I don't know who owns it now. We're in the second and third tier generation companies that own these. The only complaint that pilots ever had about the 65 is we didn't make one. That's exactly what they said. Beautiful Navy variant of the 60 model. The Navy loved the airplane. They're still flying it until next year. Next year is the last year they're going to be flying the Sabreliner.
Kind of run through these. This is one that came in out of Spirit about a couple of years ago. I got some detailed photos of this run.
Beautiful. We were so
You can
pleased.
see the slats real good in that image.
And also those slats are booted. I don't know if that's an abrasion boot or actually inflatable boot. I don't know. But they're boot, but they're rubber coated.
Nice.
Maybe because they didn't want to have to.
close up there.
They probably didn't want to have to take both of the ordeal of polishing, which is an ordeal.
Actually, pneumatic boot.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Because we had a commercial civilian operation that did pneumatic boots, and I think it was the one out of Akron that did all the boots.
That's the name.
Yeah, I've taken several airplanes up there to get
Did they
the
boot
boots.
the tail too, or just,
Yeah.
did they boot the tail too, or just?
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
Vertical and horizontal.
Yeah.
And leading edges and vertical and horizontal, and then.
These are, you clearly see the static wicks, strobes, and a lot of static wicks on the airplane.
And the part that I deal with is the fuel vent.
Yes, there's a fuel vent here. What's marvelous about this airplane, line service would love it, single point fuel. Up under the right wing, put a nozzle in, half turn, you set up with a deadman switch and hold it, and you're fueling the airplane up. It's wonderful. You
say
can,
the day that these were civilian airplanes, that you had to go out and find them and put them back?
we went out to the commercial, or to the commercial fleet, and we bought 25 airplanes, no small task. And we turned those into UNFO aircraft, undergraduate naval flight officers program aircraft, 25 Saberliners. It's a huge task. Perryville had a big hand in that. And they had to change the whole radome out on the airplane for a whole other radar. It was just, it was a monstrous job.
Doug, real quick, sorry, Steve, did you have anything?
Oh, okay.
I got you.
What do you think the disposition will be of those planes after next year? You said you have flying annual plan for 1 per year. What happens to those?
Likely you'll see them parked at Navy bases as memorials or as memorial aircraft. Maybe some will be flown to museums. We hope that we get one here in Missouri.
Yeah.
Perryville has 282-1, and aptly they should. They put it together, you know, so aptly they should. There's the splitter vanes, and that's just a picture there. And those are heated splitter vanes. It's, the theory is you've got the same amount of airflow going to the engine in all quadrants. That was an engineering consideration.
Splitter vein was really for dissecting birds for knowing flying the birds, really it was, so that the engine would survive a direct hit by a duck.
Because I've got pictures of them shooting a bird cannon into the engines and into the windshield, and it survives it. These engines will swallow the birds.
And you might talk about the skid plate under the wing too, that was developed
For gear up
wheels
landings. For gear up landings, we had a
Go back to the
we had a sacrificial skid underneath the airplane. You can see some of it right there. That's a sacrificial skid. If this gear doesn't come down, you can land on that skid and save a lot of airframe. Yep.
You land wheels up, and within a matter of a few hours, you have jack back up and gear down, and with a few pieces of high-speed case flat out.
Bang, there you go. There you go.
What was the range difference between the early models and the final production?
65s had, and 80 models had quite a bit of range. The range on an airplane that I flew was about 1,090 miles, about 1,100 miles range on what I flew. When I'd go west, we'd always make a fuel stop in western Colorado to get to the west coast. From the west coast to St. Louis, it was nonstop. But range anywhere from the early 40 models, I flew a later 40 model, it was 1,100 miles range. Went up to no higher than 1,600 miles. And that's absolute, you know, you gotta have reserves and all that. But, yeah, they carry a little more fuel for the other variants. When you get into the supercritical wing, they also had a fuel cell where the speed brake used to be. So they carry a little more fuel. And those engines were a lot more fuel efficient. These engines really suck fuel. When these engines were made, jet fuel was 24 cents a gallon.
No bypass.
And no one cared, you know, how much fuel they burned. You know, I pumped millions of gallons of jet fuel at 36 cents a gallon. At 36 cents a gallon, remember the sheets. There's a great shot of the speed brake there. That's one of the few things you can deploy at any speed on the aircraft. It's got a 3,000 PSI hydraulic system. In the sheet metal shop, I used to rebuild these. That's how I got my airframe license. When you have the speed brake in a jig, it uses every kind of fastener you can imagine.
It's also the skid that we were just talking about, I think, isn't it, back behind
Yeah.
there?
Yes.
To the left?
Yes. Yes, right there.
Okay.
That long skid. There you can see the actuators real well. When I was in the hydraulic shop, I used to overhaul all those actuators for the speed brake, landing gear doors, landing gear extension and retraction. I overhauled a lot of those.
Doug,
Some of our 65 operators are wanting to reactivate the speed brake, which we've done on, what, maybe 8 or 10
Oh.
65 models.
How about that?
Speed brake has become active.
That's interesting. That's a big job.
Doug, I'd like to introduce Rich right now.
Certainly.
You know,
Rich, where are you at? Okay. This is Captain Rich Dan, Navy, was responsible for painting this and many other aircraft 2 years ago for the Naval Aviation Centennial. So thanks, Rich, and you maybe explain some of these photos to us a little bit better?
Yeah, we put together a plan to paint airplanes in heritage paint jobs, and we ended up doing 28 in a blimp. And Perryville, Sabreliner three T-34s, and a T-44, and they were fabulous to work with. We, when the planes were done, they gave us little touch-up kits to take with us, and thought of a little bit of everything. So, hats off to you on behalf of the Navy. Thank you.
Yeah, I think the next sequence of photos starts to, there's some Perryville, right?
Just kind of run through these, and you can see the progress.
I've been to the paint shop a few times now.
And can you explain the significance of this particular paint scheme? I can't remember.
Yeah, back in the 30s, the airplanes were painted high visibility wings. They were yellow on the top, and then the fuselage was silver. And then the tail color would denote what carrier or whatever you were off of. In this case, blue tail would be the Enterprise. You can see the star on the top of the wing is the old style, in the 1930s. Right there. And we went as far as I did a little graphic in Adobe Illustrator of the Pensacola logo back in the day with a duck taking off with goggles on his head. And they ended up putting that on one side of the airplane and then the Training Wing 6 logo on the other side.
That's a good shot of the wing.
You can see the ailerons removed, and the flaps, I think, are removed also.
I think so.
While we're looking at these, I want to tell you that when we did the unfold program for the Navy, the FAA said, sorry, you got to break a wing. You got to take it down to Perryville, you got to put it in the jig. The FAA wanted to see us break a wing, so we took a wing down there, and this is a fact, and Harry will back me up on this.
It's actually done at Southwest Research in San Antonio.
And they bent it and bent it and bent it, and it was a monstrous explosion. The dust cleared everything. It broke the jig. The wing went boing, and the FAA said, it's safe to fly. Yeah, it did. It actually broke the jig. It was a marvelous wing.
Mark, I think you took these photos?
Yeah.
Thanks, Mark.
Every time I went down there,
Those are great photos.
great bunch of people, and for all you Sabreliner people, you think about sponsoring, bringing that to our museum, I would love to see that at our museum.
Absolutely. That's where a lot of these
Wouldn't that be
Sabreliner
awesome?
go. They must be retained at museums and at keynote places all over our country. I shot this one day back when I was in line service. This was a typical day at Sabreliner. I had truck 562, it had 1,800 gallons of fuel. I'd fill 3 Sabres, go to the bulk plant. Come back, fill 3 Sabres, go to the bulk plant. I did that all day. And we had them coming in like that all day long. It was a magical time for Sabreliner.
That's all she wrote.
I started.
Any questions? I'm going to have to yield to maybe some of our people down in Perryville on that what it was stressed to in positive and negative G's. I'm not sure I know the answer to that. I've been to flight safety and trained on it, and I knew those numbers a long time ago, but I just don't remember. It's mill spec, so it's got to be high.
The other four airplanes were actually demonstrated to be 4G, and the only thing we had to do is a 90 degree per second roll rate, and we had to put vortex generators in front of the ailerons because we got a little bit of aileron buzz at that 90 degree per second roll rate. So you'll see on the T-39Ns the little vortex generators out ahead of the ailerons.
Well, after line service, I finished my education. I went into technical publications, and I was a tech writer for the company. And then I didn't start flying the Sabreliner. A little bit with Sabreliner Corporation, maybe 50 hours, that I went to fly for a private company after leaving Sabreliner. And it was a marvelous airplane.
Since you were pointing out the boots on the leading edge, were you not hot?
No Sabreliner was ever approved for no nice.
That's what the boots did. They certified.
The boots did. Boots did, right.
And 65.
And the 65 is certified for known icing. It has a hot wing. But no 4060 was ever really approved for known icing. The thing is, they could bust right through it and get on top of it and get on top, and that's what they did. They flew right through it and got on top.
I have a question for you, Doug. Being aware of his association with North American way back when, wondering if Bob Hoover ever flew an air show for Sabreliner.
Oh, I think so.
I would have to say the answer to that would be absolutely yes, at some point.
We got a short video, speaking of Bob Hoover, that we'll put on real quick. Let me disconnect this serial cable.
Oh, you don't need,
Oh, okay.
In fact, wasn't that airplane?
like I say, this airplane was, the parts were manufactured in Los Angeles, but it was St. Louis and Perryville and St. Louis that made it the airplane what it was. Perryville put the fuselages to the wings together.
Because the prototype was run out of El Segundo.
Right, right.
Really?
So that was a switch to assembling them here.
Early 60s, very, very early 60s, and there's a long story with that. We had a fixed base operation in St. Louis called Lambert Warner. I don't know if any of you remember that.
Oh, yeah.
Lambert Warner brought the first commercial Sabreliner to St. Louis and sold it to Pet Mills. They were the first customer, I believe, and they started it. After about 5 or 6 or 7 airplanes, North Americans said, "What's going on out there in St. Louis?" And they came out and they took it over, and it became North American Rockwell in St. Louis. But the late 80s, we did a really wonderful video with Bob Hoover that came out to fly one of our Saberliners, and you're in for a treat. This is really something. I flew with Bob Hoover. We flew Bob and I flew a 65 up to the Reading Air Show in Pennsylvania, and that was a lot of fun. And we taxied in, and magically a table got set up, an umbrella went up, 6 chairs went up, and some green juice with a bunch of ice cubes in it got put on the table, and that was his Texas tea that he had to have. And that just popped right up before I could even open the door. It was a marvelous airplane to fly. The 40 mile, you can get right to 41,000 feet without step climbing. The 60s, the 75, 80, they must loiter at altitudes to burn fuel off.
In the next few minutes,
Better do that with a challenge.
world-famous pilot Bob Hoover will show you why Sabreliner is a better choice than ever. Presented by Sabreliner Corporation.
People have said the gears so close together, it must be a hard airplane to land. It's not. It's not at all. You can land it like a Cessna 172.
Bob Hoover proves that Sabreliner sets the standard for today's business jets as he flies intricate aerobatics in an unmodified 23-year-old Sabreliner.
How do you go about working up to a getting something you're confident in your ability to be able to keep that?
Oh, it isn't really that difficult, actually. In the older airplanes, you work a lot harder, believe me, and this is it's pretty easy. You put it in air conditioning comfort.
Yeah, just in the first plane, I mean, is there a lot different to this plane? Is it more seat depth?
No, this was a standard production airplane, and there's good ones people like that. It still performs just like when brand new, and it's really just perform. But you don't see a very large airplane. It carries this many people out during all the fluid that you see in the fighter. And that's a significance over what I just right here for you, but it's really is like that.
Proven performance and
Green over the
technology,
eyebrow with us to kind of cool it off.
Sabreliner
It does get
introduced
hot in
many
that cockpit.
innovations to the business jet, such as swept wings and single-point refueling. Still the fastest in its class, Sabreliner flies at over 500 miles per hour at a cruising altitude of 45,000 feet. Sabreliner has the best safety record of any business Sabreliner, manufactured in 1965, has logged over 9,400 hours and still flies like new.
This airplane has lived its life as a commercial business aircraft. It's not especially stressed for this or anything. All of them can do this. Not to modify it in any way whatsoever. You can tell how early the airplane is. It's still just a two-cabin moving airplane.
Hey, Doug,
Yeah,
is that the airplane that finally became Evergreen's?
I believe it did.
Okay.
The airplane had thrust reversers. They were piggybacks on top of the throttle you could open up, and they worked very effectively. Very effective. I just did one fly with Bob. He was a sweet soul to fly with. Wonderful, real treat. The 65, we took it to the Reading Air Show.
I think he's one of the world's greatest pilots. That's all there is to it, without a doubt. I've yet to see a man that can go out and fly like he does, with the precision that he flies. It's just out of the world.
You can enjoy the quiet and comfort of a cabin that seats up to 10 passengers in a business jet with the handling and maneuverability of a fighter at a price lower than most turboprops.
It's a 1963 airplane that still looks good in the year 2013.
What I, Doug, or you're done with everything? Okay.
Anybody have any
Any other
questions?
questions? Feel free to ask Doug or any of the other Sabre guys tonight.
Feel free to come up to the table and look at the literature.
The memorabilia.
This is the original proposal in 1958 to sell the airplane to the Air Force. There's only one of these around, so here it is.
What I'd like to do right now is, it takes about a few minutes to get these lights energized again so we have better light. If everybody wants to take a 5-minute break and go to the restroom or whatever, we'll come
I want
right
to say
back.
this real quickly though, Dan.
Go ahead.
While you all get up, somebody here tonight's got a green sticker underneath their seat. And they're going to get this Sabreliner cap. So, if you've got a green sticker under your seat,
Gotta be out there somewhere. Take a 5-minute break, we'll come back and bring in some pictures of the beautiful cake that Bakery did. And I have a presentation I want to make. Also, real quick,